Greetings, everybody. Brian Terrian here from the Disability Digest, and welcome to our Wednesday YouTube live event. I've asked Mr. Philip Price to come back and join us again. Thank you, Philip, for being with us.
Great to be here.
Yeah, in the unfortunate event that you missed last week's show, it was one of our top-rated YouTube live events. So that's one of the reasons why I asked Philip to come back. Give you the credit for that. Thank you. Today we are going to go through and talk about three different topics. One is work attempts while you're going through the disability approval process, moving, and then the main topic we're going to talk about is if and when you actually need a disability attorney. We'll talk about that for going through the approval process, and many of you that join us also are already approved. So we can address it for your continuing disability review process as well. All right, did I miss anything?
I think that's it.
All right. For those of you that are new here, welcome. For those of you coming back, it is a privilege to have you back again. We do these as general educational events. Our focus here at the Disability Digest is to do three things. We want to help you get your disability benefits approved fast, help you keep them, and help you maximize them. Here at the Disability Digest, our objective is to give all of our information away. I've been doing this for 17 years. Philip, 5 years, right?
Correct.
Yep, 5 years. And so you have the opportunity to take the information we have. It might be a course that will teach you what to do, what not to do to go through the disability approval process. And for many, they can use that. For some, they're not able to. And then there's another option for you to have it done for you. So you can definitely look around the YouTube channel if you haven't already and see over 400 different videos where our focus is to do just that. So let's get started, right?
Okay.
Let's do this. So go in reverse order and talk about moving. Like, can you move if you're going through the application process? Or if you're approved, what are the pros and cons of doing that, right? I'm sure you've worked with people that have asked you this question, right, Philip?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Lots of times.
What's your common response?
Yeah, you can, nobody says you can't move. They're not going to stop you from moving. The only problem I have with it is that it could slow your case down quite a bit.
Right.
Because you got to transfer, you got to let them know you're moving, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
First thing you need to do is call them, notify them, let them know you're moving. And then the process begins of moving your information to a new DDS office that's closer to you. Maybe not.
Right.
It could stay where it's at. And then you got to worry about getting the information back and forth to that specific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's well said. Another consideration is if you so happen to live in the area of Texas where Philip is, which is where one of the longest wait times is to have a decision made.
That's true.
And your case is conveniently moved to Des Moines, Iowa, where they've don't have a big backlog. Then that could help you out. So you can take that into consideration when you're going through the move. One other thing where there is definitely going to be a delay is if you're at the hearing level and you're waiting for a hearing, because it's reassigned from one judge to another judge. I know from experience and in the years that we've been doing this, that's pretty much going to be a 3-month delay in your system, in your case. So you'll get those benefits, when you get approved, but it's still 3 months of getting delay. So that's something to consider when you're going through the process. Now, once you're approved, you can live anywhere in the continental United States, really anywhere where you can get your Medicare coverage, because that's the key, is you want to stay treated, right?
Yep. It's a lot of, get a lot of that, seen a lot of that too, where they states they're in, such as Texas, Medicaid is not, unless you're, there's certain circumstances you can get Medicaid in Texas, but 90% of them can't.
Right.
You can move to a state that's going to help you, well, by all means. You got to do what you got to do for your health.
Yep. Yeah. Like the state I live in has an amazing Medicaid program. But and moving to Vermont in January might not be for everybody. So you have to take all of that into consideration.
No.
Yeah. It's the chilling truth. All right. Okay, so let's move now to somebody that's going through the disability approval process. Common questions are like, can I work and apply for disability? I'm tired of waiting. I want to go back to work. Like what are the options in that area? So we're going to kind of break that down. First of all, if you're going through the disability approval process, you are allowed to work and earn income up to $1,450 a month. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to get approved. That just means that you can apply. So Philip, I know you've been in touch with a lot of people, and I mean, have you seen people lately that are earning $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 a month and still been able to get approved?
Not very many.
Right.
There's been a few over the years, but I haven't, you just have to take it into consideration. And I understand you gotta pay the electric bill, you gotta pay the water bill, you gotta buy groceries while you're going through the process. So, you may not have a choice. You got to get out there and do something. But just be aware that that gives the opportunity for Social Security to argue, that you're working, and if you're, depending on how many hours you're putting in, and you can stay under the $1,450 a month, but if you're working 25 hours a week to get that, say $1,300 a month, well, that's hours. That's what I think it's 20 hours a week that they allow, right? Or the rule is 20 hours. But if you're putting in 25, then they may be able to argue, well, if you have some different treatment, take some different medications, maybe the doctor prescribes some other treatments for you, you could put in 30 hours a week and support yourself. So it just opens up the argument for them. So just be mindful of that.
Yeah, no, those are excellent points. Now, there is another way to look at this. Let's say that you're feeling better and you want to go back to work and you want to just go into the whole full-time thing, and you have an application going, right? So one of the questions or statements that we get from time to time is just, I'm going to stop my application. I'm going to go back to work. I can't take it anymore. So this is my position on that, is that you can stop your application, but when you stop your application, you're not able to recover any of the months that you've been out of work again, because that's going to basically be like a denial. So another way to look at it that I encourage people to do is this: say, listen, okay, you want to go back to work, great. Keep your application in place, go back to work. Let's see if you can pull it off, right? And if you can, great. It's always better to work than it is not to work, okay? So, but if it doesn't work, and I have a visual up on my screen now, if it doesn't work and it lasts less than 3 months, or in some cases, less than 6 months, this could actually be beneficial for your disability approval process. right?
Correct. Yes.
Yep. And the reason is, you might be scratching your head why, but if you think about it this way, Social Security wants to see that you're making an effort. And if you make a concerted effort and say, listen, man, I want to give it another shot, I want to go back in there, and you do that and you document it, and then it doesn't work, you add it to your case file, that's where it can help. So there's certain times to do this, in my opinion and experience. We'll talk about that. But some of the key things are, when you do this, is the documentation. And that documentation would be your own personal documentation, like, what do you feel? Has it changed your pain level? Has it changed your sleeping pattern? Do you have to recover the entire weekend so that you can get back in the game on Monday? Are you having any special accommodations from your work, meaning that they let you come in late, leave early, take extra long lunches, things like that? Those are all important things to document in the process of doing that. Okay. So before I go on to the timing part of this, like when, in my opinion, I think is a good time to do it. Do you have anything else to add to this, Philip?
No, just like I said, be aware of the circumstances of, you know, what you do. Do go out, if you do get a job, you know, if you're filing for disability and you have back issues, you know, physical problems, and then you go out and get a part-time job digging ditches somewhere, that's not going to look very good. You're trying to get approved, even though it's part-time work, or mowing grass, mowing lawns, or something like that, that's extremely physical. You have to be aware of what you're going to do. Although I wouldn't assume that if you have those kind of issues, you're not out trying to do that kind of work. You're more or less trying to go out and get something that's easy.
Yeah, good point. Just be smart about it. Yes. Before we continue on this, I see there's a lot of people that are joining us in progress, and welcome to the Disability Digest Live. We're talking about right now unsuccessful work attempts, when they're applicable, could benefit your case. I see there's some questions in the chat. We welcome you to add more. We'll address those at the end and do the best we can to get your questions answered. So as far as the timing for this, this is my position in 17 years of experience. There's 191,000 people here. Seen lots of different situations. That's where we've been able to gain our experience in doing this. And there's a time to try this that's going to have better results than another. So we covered this last week. It's kind of the expectations of when you get approved and how long. We talked about that. But there's really 5 different steps in the disability approval process. Most go through 3 and end up getting approved. So you have your initial application where you apply. And right now that's taking anywhere from 6 to 9 months, or if you're in Texas or Florida, it could be 11 to 12 months to get a decision. I wouldn't suggest doing it at that stage. The next stage is, if that's denied, you file a reconsideration appeal. It takes another 5-7 months to get a decision on that. If that's not approved, which the odds of it getting approved are pretty low, there's 13% up here, then you've got a long wait until you get a hearing. Nobody looks at your case, hasn't been assigned to a judge. There isn't really anything that you can do to influence this. So you're waiting for a hearing. And if you're going to test work in the ideal situation, that would be a time to do it, because you've been out of work for a while, because you've applied, gone through initial and reconsideration. And you're going to do that. So, I mean, if it happens to coincide with a holiday job where you know you're going to work for a couple of months and that's going to be about it, then, I mean, that's another way to look at it. You could give it a push and see if you could make it work. So that's the timing part. So let's just recap this a little bit. In my opinion, if you're going to work or try to go back to work over the allowed amount, I'd keep your application in place, document as we indicated. And then if you can work, great. Then you can stop your application, you're back to work. Perfect. If you're not, then you have your application in place. You've kept all of the back pay that you were entitled to, and all of those prior months could be worth thousands of dollars. Like 10 months at 1,500 would be $1,500. You can make a simple mistake in judgment, not listening to Philip and I today, and boom, there goes 15 grand. So we encourage you not to do that. So those are some of the tips on that.
Yeah.
All right. So now, Philip, you had some questions that you wanted to ask about going through the approval process, representative, attorney, non-attorney.
Right.
Tell me what's on your mind.
Is it, and I get a lot of these in my Facebook group, is what are the pros and cons of hiring somebody to help you file? Do you use a disability attorney? Do you use a licensed representative? What's the best course of action?
Right.
And, you know, my experience myself, you know, as you know well, I filed on my own back in 2012, did the whole process myself, and I got approved eventually. It was quicker than most. It took like 7 months and I was approved, but I had a lot of issues, a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish I knew then what I know now. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes then, and I can see that now, even though I got approved on my own, but I wish I would have had somebody to walk me through and educate me on what it, because I just fumbled through it. I mean, I just downloaded the application, filled it out, sent it in, and next thing you know, I'm getting all this correspondence from Social Security. You got to do this, you got to do that, you got to go to these doctors, and you know, panic sets in and you don't know what to do. So if you have somebody that understands it, and with the Disability Digest, you know, we help as an advocate. We can help coach you through all of that. And if you need the help to file, well, we're there for that. So I guess my question is, what would you say of course, the pros of doing it yourself is you ain't got to pay anybody if you win. You know, that all that back pay is yours. Right. It's, I believe now that it is a small price for the less stress and increasing your odds of getting approved in the long run. What do you think is the pros and cons of it?
The $7,200 question.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of misinformation out there about that too. So I'd like you to address that also.
Right.
The new pay scale.
Sure. My position has always been this since we started in the early in 2006, like with Jonathan Ginsburg, who has been a contributor to the Disability Digest, is that I don't believe everybody needs to have a disability representative. I don't, and that's why we give away all the information and teach people to do it. Some people can do it, and maybe they're not able to do it on their own.
Right. Well, a lot of people are sick and, you know, really sick and just can't do it.
Yep. Maybe they have a spouse. Many have spouses that will help them if their spouse has the skill set. Just having a spouse isn't going to be the answer.
Right.
So just to dig into this a little bit, because it's huge, people make the mistake of going through or entering into the process without really understanding what's involved. And it's costly, and the attempt is to think that they're saving something. So my first point on this, and I'm not answering your question directly. My direct answer is not everybody needs a representative. It's a personal choice. But understanding the process is the number one thing. And so I applaud anybody out there that's listening to this and trying to figure out what to do. Because there's many people that qualify for their disability benefits, and that don't get them, or they're delayed in getting them, Philip, because they don't understand what to do.
Right.
Or if they understand what to do, then maybe they missed the step. Maybe they've got cognitive issues, or their pain is so severe they can't focus and remember repetitive tasks. So you're dealing with really a business transaction. And that's where, it becomes a challenge for people.
Yeah.
So one of the things I encourage people to look at is the $77,200 is the current fee. Anybody who started a disability application after October of 31st with a representative last year would be subject to that. If it's before that, then it's the old fee structure of $6,000. So if you look at that, and the average benefit package, according to Charles Hall and the work that I've done, is $447,000. You think you're looking at a lifetime worth of income. Your disability check is more than your Social Security early retirement, and you get it for life. So if you look at the $7,200 that you're going to pay to get $447,000 on average, you're dealing with 0.0016% of the overall cost. Now, I'm sure you could use that money. And the point is you have the opportunity to get it on your own. But what if you don't? What if you miss like 5 months of back benefits because you don't know how to adjust your onset date and get it right and nail it down, and your check is $1,500, right? So right there, you've basically lost the fee. So these are all things that you need to consider in doing that. Hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah. And if you do hire somebody to help you with it, what should you be looking for in that representative or disability attorney that would convince you that's the way you need to go? I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, what is it that they can do specifically to help you with the process? Okay. I mean, once they hire you, do you contact them? Do you walk them through? I know and a lot of you know that have applied, after you apply your initial application, a month, 2 months later, you'll receive the adult function reports that you have to fill out, and you have to fill those out. Your attorney can't fill them out for you, but they can walk you through on the information that needs to go in there, so you don't haphazardly put things in there that could be detrimental. Is that the things that are done? Yeah. As far as being a representative.
So what I'm hearing is, one is the selection criteria. What should you look for? Right. 2 is, I mean, what should they be doing? What are some of the steps that will make a difference?
What should the representative be doing? Yes.
All right. I'll share this. First of all,
I get a lot of remarks in the Facebook group. I've hired somebody and I ain't heard from them in
communication. Yeah. Okay. So let's unpack this. First of all, the selection criteria. If you're going to pay for somebody to do this work, you should understand and get the best fit for you. It's not one size fits all. Like with us, there's availability. We only work with 15 people a month. There's people we have to turn away. It's just so we can maintain the quality and our award rate and that. And we might not be a fit for people, or maybe somebody already has somebody else out there. So here's a few tips on that. I would look at what they do for work and how long they've done it. If they're doing Social Security disability work, dog bites, domestic violence, family law, then the issue becomes, in order to do this work, you need to see the patterns, be in it. It's like anything else. Like if you're an athlete, you're going to train. So if they're doing a bunch of different areas of law, I would, that's a big red flag for me. If they're not doing enough volume of it, meaning that they should be like representing a certain amount of cases a month, at least 15, 20 cases, talking to other people, then you'll get somebody. So that's kind of the criteria, Philip. Look for that. You can go to somebody's website, you can ask these questions. You can even ask them this. If you've listened to some of our prior shows and hopefully, how to communicate you're disabled in 2 sentences or less, you tell them your story and then you ask them, listen, I'd like you to explain to me in 2 sentences or less why you think I qualify. Spin it on them. See if they get it right. If they don't.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
All right. So that's that topic. My understanding is the next one is like, what are some of the points of difference, right?
Okay. Yes. What's the difference between a licensed representative and a disability attorney?
Okay. Performance-wise, I mean, I'm a non-attorney representative for the cases that we represent, and the work that I do is well, it's certainly different than an attorney. As a non-attorney representative, you're held to a higher level of accountability to perform properly, because you have annual certification that you need to go through. As an attorney, the only thing you need to do is just pass the bar once. There's no ongoing education. There isn't any of that. Now, giving credit to attorneys, there's a lot of preparation and study to go through and pass the bar, and they do have and are taught some negotiation skills. So there is an advantage to that, but that can be gained really and trumped by experience of somebody that is a non-attorney. So like in our situation, how we work is the flow of business is in my name, but if a case has to go to court or we need specific advice, we have a stable of attorneys that go to court. They're good at it. They do hearings all the time. So that's a key point there. So if you go to like a large company that you'll see that, has thousands and thousands of cases, in my experience, because I've known a lot of these people, you're less likely to get custom work done. Now, if you're probably asking yourself, well, what's custom work? I'll tell you what's not custom work is if somebody takes your case and they're just going to put it through the system, knowing that a percentage of these get approved anyway. That goes on out there. I know it because I've been in and out of a lot of these companies. So what custom work is, I have a few props up on the page here. And Philip, you brought up a good point about like the forms, right? So let's go through some of the things that you should look for in my opinion. First of all, it should be easy to submit your information. Like you should be able to, now electronic signature is available. You should authorize those. In my opinion, you should allow different options for people to submit their case-related information. Maybe some via email, some put it in a web form, some print it, mail it, fax it, all of those options. That's just being plain consumer friendly, because some people don't have computers, they're working with their phone. It's just all of those things. So that'll help you make it easy to get your information in and get it into the system. And then some of the things that are important that you want to look for is, and if you're here as a member going through the disability approval process with us, you have access to this course that is put together with Attorney Osterhow, Jonathan Ginsburg, Barbara Mountain, a lot of success stories from others. And it teaches you what to do and what not to do. But one of the key things is completing the paperwork that you first get from Social Security. If you're going to have somebody and you're hiring to do this work, then they should provide you with guidance on how to answer them, and not just fill it out, do the best you can, and then let me look at it, but to give you actually a structure of how those questions should be answered. And here's why. If you don't get this right, And for example, you're asked if you do any grocery shopping and you answer, yes, I do. Well, then that means you can grocery shop. If you get denied and your case goes to a hearing, the judge is going to zero in on that same exact question. Rather, you might say, yes, I grocery shop, but you only grocery shop once in a while. And when you go, you got to sit in one of those carts. And, you know, when you're done grocery shopping, you come home and you're wiped out. So can you grocery shop all the time? No, but you didn't answer the question right? So those are some of the things. So you want to have the forms monitored. You want to understand what evidence you need to have to put in your case file, because there's medical records, there's other things that can be put in there, like handicap stickers, letters from prior employers, personal references, even little videos of showing you, like, you know, walking with a walker or with a cane, or what it's like to get up, or anything like that, is all evidence that can be put in. So if you go to a large company and ask these questions, my hunch is, based on my experience, you're not going to get that. So you want to find the kind of the right, in my opinion, boutique where somebody's going to tell your story right and get the supporting information in there. All right, I'm going to pause. Anything I missed at this point, Philip?
No, I think you covered it pretty good. The only, or the last thing I guess I could ask is, if I hire an attorney or a licensed representative, is, you know, I'm not feeling good and I just don't want to talk to anybody, can I just put it on autopilot and sit back and expect you to handle it from that point?
You can, but this is a two-way process. The information that is required is inherent in the applicant. Only they understand, you know, their doctor's visits, the medications, the information for the case. So if you go to sleep on it, then that's not good. Now, sometimes health doesn't allow you to be consistent, so you need a backup contact, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That will step in for you. Yeah. Two other things, Philip, if I may. I want to communicate to the audience out there. Is I'm going to put up on my screen here. This is called a legal brief, and I blacked out some of the information. If you have a representative and you've got a case that's like really good at like initial or reconsideration, it's of their best interest to win it, in my opinion, because it doesn't have to go to a hearing. You get paid quicker and they get paid quicker. So one of the things that I encourage people to look for is ask if they're going to write some type of a legal brief or case theory that explains your story. It tells your story to Social Security, how old you are, what you did for work, what your limitations are, what your conditions are, how many doctors you see, how many medications, and then tie it into the law. And the law will be, if you're under 50, it's one thing. If you're between 50 and 54, it's another. If you're over 55, it's another. Do the work so that you put it in. Now, it might not get it approved, like this right here. This was actually a 33-year-old that we were able to get approved, but it told her story all the way through and made it easier to get the decision done, right? So full-on legal brief, which is what this is, or even just a case theory, like 3 or 4 paragraphs that tell your story, submitting that to Social Security, it makes a difference. Why? How do I know? Because I know our results, which I don't share out here publicly, but if you talk to Philip or Jam or El, they all know the results that we get from doing this work. So you can ask them. So that's it. One other thing that's key, and this is a great question, and I get all fired up about it, but if you're using a representative, they have the ability to look into your case file at Social Security. Now, as an applicant, you don't have that, which is unfortunate, but it's the way it is. Now, you can log into your My SSA and it'll show you the percentage that it's done, right? But the value of doing that is, let's say you have 5 doctors and you're going through the approval process. And Social Security has requested medical records from 5, but only 3 have shown up. Well, the representative can tell. And if they're looking and getting close to making a decision and they're missing 2 treating sources for medical evidence, that's definitely where a representative can make a difference. Now, you can do this too, but you have to do it manually. You've got to get on the phone. You've got to get in touch with your caseworker. You need to ask the right question to make sure that it's in there. So being able to look into the case file is of big value in my experience. So the strategy is initial application, let the case build up, let the information get into the case file. When it's all there, then you write that case theory or case brief that I showed you, communicate it to Social Security, and start working the case manager. Those are some of the differences that make the difference in the approval rate and what you should be paying for.
Perfect.
Philip, we haven't talked about communication. Do you have any tips before I share my 2 cents on it?
Communication is, yeah, I would say, you want to stay in touch if you have an attorney or a representative like Brian. You want to stay in touch, but my personal feeling is that you don't want to be too what's the word I'm looking for here? You don't want to bother them too much. You can be inquisitive. You want to know, so you can contact them, find out what's going on, where you're at in your case. But if you're calling them every day or every other day, then you're taking them away from being able to work on your case or work on somebody else's case.
Right. Good point. Yeah, I feel like any relationship, working relationship, marriage, you need to have some solid communication expectations with that person that you're working with.
Yeah.
There's long periods of time where nothing goes on here. And if you were to call like in every day, I'm in a networking group, I know they would release you. They're just, because either you don't understand the process or you're not communicating it. So where it's helpful is if you have a new diagnosis or something that's increased in severity, or medication has changed, or maybe you are thinking about doing a little work, or you were working and you stopped, any situational changes, absolutely make sure that you let them know about that. And then if you receive notification from Social Security, let them know about that. And then you can certainly monitor them through the process, like the points that I showed you, getting the information in, getting the forms filled out and reviewed, getting your doctor's support on file, getting some type of a case theory communicated. If you follow those steps and they're doing their work, I mean, I don't know why you would want to hound them, but.
Yeah. Well, that goes 2 ways also. If you're in the process and something comes up and that attorney or representative needs to get a hold of you, you need to answer the phone.
Yes.
You got to talk to them so that they know you're still involved and still there. I mean, yeah. you get in and I understand, people get in a situation where they're just really frustrated with the whole thing, and they, the phone rings and it could be a bill collector, it could be, anybody, and they just don't want to answer the phone. But your attorney can't, if you can't get a hold of your representative, can't get a hold of you, then you're dead in the water.
Right. Yeah. Call blocking, voicemails that are full, unpaid cell phone bills. I've seen all of those cost people their benefits. Yeah. We just had a situation 2 weeks ago where an individual went AWOL. We couldn't get in touch with him. We couldn't get in touch with his backup contact. So I made the choice to go and participate in the hearing anyway. And we were super, super fortunate. And I just had said to the judge, and I don't typically do hearings, but I did this one. I said, Your Honor, I said, Mr. XYZ has gone AWOL. I said, he's here today, but we have not had the opportunity to build a record. We have no idea what he's done for treatment, for medications, for anything. So I would be grateful if you would grant us an extension. And they don't have to. And he could have said, listen, Mr. XYZ, this is the deal here. Denied. And that's happened. But in this case, we were fortunate it didn't.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Well, listen, we've unpacked a lot. Let's take a few questions before we wrap up here. And Jam was not able to join us today, so I'm going to do my best Jam imitation and see what I can do. Okay.
Lower your voice. Lower your voice.
All right. This one's from Kathleen. If you're approved and have been receiving Social Security disability for years and just had your review and they approved you to continue, can you move to another state without having your SSDI reduced? I don't know of any situation where your Social Security disability income would be reduced, unless, with a slight exception, you were not paying for your Medicare Part B premium and all of a sudden your income and assets changed. And, you had to pay for it, but there's no problem in moving. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm late. No worries. I've been late a few meetings this week. Had my hearing Monday. It lasted 15 minutes. Judge did not even ask me about the pain, etc. Is that a good sign? I have no idea.
No way to know.
No way to know. I mean, usually they ask some questions and they'll consult the voc rehab. It's just a little information. I don't have enough to go on, but I wish you well. If you get approved, let us know. Took 2 years to get a hearing. Yeah. Okay, here's one from Kathleen, working 20 hours a week for help with bills. What types of jobs, sit down, otherwise, will a person on SSDI do for work? I have a degree as a chemical dependency counselor. All right, I've got a few thoughts on that. Philip, you have anything you want to interject?
What is she asking? What type of job?
What types of jobs she can do?
Internet shopping.
Yeah.
See, she does some sedentary work. I guess she could find a job at a local office somewhere where she could put in, 15, 20 hours a week, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Good tips. A few thoughts on this. And some of the lives that we did around August, September of last year, we interviewed many people like May, who does mystery shopping, and others, what they're doing for work. So I'd go back and check those out. But if you are a chemical dependency counselor, I'm wondering if you could do that part-time, remote, just stay in your same wheelhouse. I know of another member here that has gone back to work as a counselor. So I'd look into that and say I can take.
What was the gentleman you had on a couple of weeks ago that you interviewed that was on disability for all those years and he went back to work? Right. Isn't that something he was doing?
He was a chiropractor. No, well, he was a chiropractor, stopped work, then came back, and now he's like helping people get back to work.
Yeah.
That would be a good interview to listen to. Good point, Philip. Yeah. That was with Kathy and, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name. But Kathy West Evans and anyway.
That
guy. Okay. What if you get denied? Social Security didn't get all the medical records from the doctor. Well, that's not good. So that's why you want to follow the tips that I just mentioned. If you're using a representative, ride them, make sure that they are getting all your medical records, or you do it yourself. That's really, really, really important.
Yep.
Yep.
That proactive again, be proactive in your case.
The judge suggests that I change my onset so I can reflect I was 50 when disabled, not 49. Is that a good thing? It means less back pay. Well, two ways to look at this. If you said no, he could deny the whole case. So you have to kind of say, will I take the deal? I actually have been to a hearing, just watching it with one of our clients here in Vermont. And this exact thing happened. He said, I'll approve you today if you're willing to adjust your onset date. And so she chose no. And the case was denied.
Wow.
Yep. Whole thing, not just a few months, the whole thing. So word of caution, if you get a deal, you want to consider taking it.
Yeah. 12 months versus a lifetime of.
There's some questions about the 1470. It's not 1470, it's 1450. If you're going through the approval process, you search you can search the YouTube channel for how much money I can make. You'll come up with the answers. It'll show you the regulation. You can believe other people, your brother-in-law or the guy at the grocery store or whatever, but it's what is on the Social Security website. So check that out. I'm up for review this year. Should I have a representative? Oh, we forgot to cover that. Will I be going before the same judge, vocational rehabilitation? All right. So here at the Disability Digest for reviews, we have provided a 10 segment course, like how to prepare, what to do when you get it, what to do if you get denied. And 4 of those are available on the YouTube channel. You can just search the keywords CDR. If you're a member here at the Disability Digest or care to join us as a member, there's no charge for it. You just ask for the full course that was put together with attorney James Mitchell Brown. So to answer the question, when you're first starting, I don't believe you need an attorney. In my opinion, you don't. You can follow the directions that we provide from attorney James Mitchell Brown to complete the forms. Now, if you get denied, that's when you should take a look at it, because something didn't go right. And you can hire an attorney. Now, if you're here at the Disability Digest and a member, we have a benefit protection program that gives you no cost legal support through your continuing disability review. And it's for individuals that work with us and are insurance clients. We are managing their Medicare, which doesn't cost anything, but we do it because we get paid from insurance companies to manage their Medicare, to make a plan selection, enroll them in it. And we want to make sure that they stay in it. So we get paid from the insurance companies. And as a way of doing that, we protect them against the review by providing legal support from the same team that helps people get approved. So those are a few different ways. No, you don't. But if you want to get some peace of mind, you can check out our benefit protection program. All right, let's see. Okay, we've got one more here, Philip. The judge gave me that option to change my onset date. I took it because I waited so long. Yeah. All right. Okay, we're going to wrap up. A few tips for everybody. There'll be a link below this video where you're watching it. And you might be watching this and out on YouTube, or maybe you're participating in Philip's Facebook group. But there'll be a link that will guide you to the Disability Digest page like this. I'm going to put it in the chat for here. And if you're not a member or you haven't updated us lately, we encourage you to come in and either join us as a member or update us. And here's why. There's all these videos and these events, and you can listen to these and piecemeal them all together. But the very best way that we can help you with information and like the personal touch and the customized approach from people like Jam and Philip and Elle and Daphne and Rachel and the others that work here, is if you join us as a member and complete this evaluation, because we'll then know where you're at. Like you're trying to get approved. Maybe you just got approved and you want to understand how to keep your benefits, maximize your benefits. And then we can get you the right information. Rather than this shotgun approach, you can get a customized approach. We have support groups. We've got live people here that can help you out. So that's the very best way that we can help you. So Philip, thanks for coming back out, investing your time, helping these people. Give Philip a shout out, everybody. I know there's other things you could be doing with your time, so I'm grateful for investing a few here with these folks, right?
Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Right on. Yeah.
Anytime.
All right. We'll be back next week, folks. Same time, same place. Make it a great week. Be well, everybody.
Bye. Bye.